All right. Appreciate you for hyping me up. I'm going to jump right into my content for today. This is going to be interactive. I'm going to ask you guys to participate in the chat, to drop some extra notes, to drop some extra nuggets. But my talk is about building rapport. Building rapport equals building the sale. And this all comes down to the speed of trust. I've got a graphic to share with you guys in a moment here. But I would rather I just put this up to give you guys a title to write down, and then all the notes are about to fly through. So my first question, drop this in the chat. What's an adequate amount of time to build rapport? What's like a good amount of time or enough time where you feel like you've built enough rapport? You got 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 15, the whole time. Ooh, good answer. The whole time. Some of you are like, okay, yep, Ava's got it. So guys, the rapport never stops. It's kind of a little bit of a trick question. You're always building rapport. But yeah, in the beginning especially, you should at least build rapport for 10 to 15 minutes. Guys, there's been demos that I had built so much rapport that I remember doing a presentation for a referral. I got recommended to a surgeon, and the surgeon was just like, all I did when I built rapport, I was asking them about their career, how they got there, what they did. We didn't talk about Cutco at all. And what happened, we built rapport for about 45 minutes. His wife ends up coming into the room and is like, oh, is this the Cutco guy? He's like, yeah, the Cutco guy is great, blah, blah, blah. It's like, oh, we already have some Cutco. And they pull out this 20-year-old set of Cutco. And they're like, we need an upgrade, Jacob. Signature set. I didn't even have to do a demo. Because the rapport was there, they liked me, they trusted me. And this was my first time meeting them. So realize that rapport creates everything. People buy from people they like and people they trust. You're always building rapport. You're building rapport throughout the demo. Now, I'm going to go over 3 keys to build rapport. My first key is to go 3 layers deep. Go 3 layers deep. What do I mean by that? Don't be surface level. You think about an iceberg. Most of an iceberg is under the water. That's how your rapport has got to be built. Do not build rapport like this. Oh, Miss Jones, do you have any kids? Yeah, we've got 3 kids. Okay. What do you guys do for work? Oh, I'm a nurse. My husband is he's a contractor. Okay. What's your favorite color? Oh, blue? Me too. How's your guys' day? Yeah, me too. That versus, oh, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, how many kids do you guys have? I can see it behind you. You guys got some photos. Is that of you and your kids? Oh, yeah, we've got 3 kids. 3 kids? Tell me about them. How old are they? Are they in sports? Oh, your kids are in college now? Where are they going to school? Why do they want to do that? Are they kind of following your footsteps? And guys, once you ask that first question, run with it. Build a rapport. Go deep. Layer 1 is like asking the original question. Layer 2 is going deeper with the question. Layer 3 is relating it to yourself. Oh, I had a friend in college that actually studied medicine too. Oh no, my brother's best friend, Mike Amashta, he's getting his residency right now. What's your son or daughter up to? Are they in med school yet, or what year in school are they? And then I start to build a rapport. And by the way, yes, that means I am more present when I speak to people. So like kind of like in the back of your head, yes, you've got to be present. But you got to also go deeper. Don't be surface level. I know that's pretty self-explanatory, but I've been field training on demos where it's been surface level. 2 words that work magic. Key, I'm going to have you step up and help me give this message. What are those 2 words that you just put in the chat box for those watching the recording?
Say more.
Say more. Tell me more. Oh my gosh, Miss Jones, tell me more. You guys went where? Are you kidding me? You guys went on a cruise last year? Was that your first one? How was that? Also great for dating. I do agree with that. But tell me more. Say more. Oh, tell me more about that, Miss Jones. Tell me more about that. How did that feel? Or what did you guys do? And just start to go a little bit deeper with that. Why? Because then they're going to feel like you relate to them. So again, number one is to go 3 layers deep. It creates authenticity. Number 2, my second key for you guys is learn to listen more. Even right now. According to, there's a revenue intelligence company, it's called Gong. What they found out is that top sales reps spend 93% more time listening than bottom performing reps. 93% more time listening. Guys, just like any enjoyable conversation, sales calls should always be a 2-way street. Let me show you a quick graphic here. Sales calls always got to be a 2-way street. Let me show you something. So this is how much top reps talk versus listen. They talk about 46% of the time, they listen 54% of the time. What does that mean? Their customer is talking more. And they're also very present. They're taking notes. I remember on demos, I would take notes. Some of you have seen me take notes when you've been in a PC with me in a conversation. And I'll bring up things that you mentioned from weeks in the past. Oh, you were just with family over in a different state. How was that? Is it because I've got a really big brain and I memorize everything? No, I just take notes. By the way, taking notes also will help us remember more and also allows us to bring up parts in conversation. Think about bottom reps. They talk 72% of the time and they listen 28% of the time. It's a 2-way conversation, not an interrogation. So guys, when we learn to listen more, what happens is you become someone that they feel like they can trust. And when they feel like they can trust you, they have no problem saying yes to you. They have no problem telling you actual objections. I know you guys have heard of something called active listening before. We've had it talked about at several conferences recently. Active listening. Go ahead and jot down active listening. What is active listening? Active listening is when you are listening actively. That's not the definition. Let me explain. So let's say your customer gives you an objection. Yeah, I don't know. Mr. and Mrs. Jones, I want to be doing my job. If I ask you, would you like to try out the homemaker set today and get your free gifts? We're not sure. Oh, okay. What about the homemaker you're unsure of? I just don't know if we'll use all those pieces. What do I do at this point? I go, okay, so Mr. and Mrs. Jones, just to make sure I'm hearing you correctly, you like Cutco, you'd use Cutco, but it's just, you're not sure if you'd use all those pieces. And they're like, oh my gosh, Jacob, you understand us. Like you're going to get that from your customers and be like, wow, yeah, exactly, Jacob. And guys, all I did was I repeated what they said. This is also great in relationships. It's to help people feel understood. We never want to assume things. And then if you need to, ask relevant follow-up questions to clarify your understanding of their situation. Okay, so you like Cutco, you use Cutco, but it's just a little bit too many pieces, or you're just not sure if you'd use those pieces. Okay, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, which pieces were you a little unsure of? Yeah, echoing definitely Ava's message. I know Melissa mentioned something about this too. But then what are they going to say? Oh yeah, we're just not sure. Guys, this is what I always did on my demos. Whenever my customer had a hesitancy about a piece, whether it was like a paring knife, a trimmer, a turning fork, I go, oh my gosh, Miss Jones, I'm so sorry. I didn't explain that the right way. Let me go back and tell you about the turning fork. This turning fork, Miss Jones, oh my goodness. This thing, it looks just like a fork, but let me tell you, it's got superpowers. It's beveled, so the tines come out. What that means is that you can actually like pick food up and it won't fall off the fork. You can like wave it in front of your dog and nothing will fall off. Also, this turning fork, Miss Jones, have you ever like try to cook like bacon or sausage on a pan and you're playing like grease hockey and like you're trying to flip over the bacon and you're just getting splattered by oil? Don't you hate that? Isn't that annoying? And like, oh my gosh, yeah, that's what this turning fork is for. I love pickles, Miss Jones, so I will always use the turning fork to get pickles out of a jar. And it's great because I could get like the 5 that I want at once versus like one at a time and like go finger fishing for pickles. So it's just so helpful. Oh, by the way, this fork can hold up to 150 pounds. So what my grandma does is she'll put one fork into one side of the turkey and another fork into the other side of the turkey. She'll take it out of the oven and she'll put it on the stove. And she loves it. That turning fork's awesome. So Miss Jones, again, I'm so sorry for not explaining it the right way, but do you see how you use that piece at least once or twice in your lifetime? And then you get a what? You get a yes. Once you get a yes, objection is handled. And I'll do that for each of the pieces. Usually it's like 1 or 2 pieces, by the way. There's a great book, and one of the biggest lessons in the book, it's How to Win Friends and Influence People. The quote is to seek first to understand, then to be understood. Seek first to understand, then to be understood. When your customer feels like you understand them, they trust you. They like you. They're open to hearing what you have to say. But if you're not understanding their concerns, if you're just saying, okay, it's too many pieces, got it. Let me show you our next set, which, yes, could work when you're new. Or if they're like, it's just a little bit too much for money or too much for our budget. Okay, let me just show you our next set. They didn't say that they didn't want it. They just said it was a little too much. So I want you guys to listen to that. They didn't say they didn't want it. They didn't say, no, I don't like the homemaker set. Get it out of my face. They didn't say that. They said, no, it's just a little bit too much. Okay, so Ms. Jones, just to make sure I'm hearing you correctly, you like Cutco. You like Cutco, you use Cutco. This is a set that you guys see yourself using. It's just a little bit too much for your budget. Okay. So if I could find a way to get that into your budget, would you want to get it? Yeah. Okay, great. Let me see what I could do for you. Ring, ring, call your manager. You got a great deal on the homemaker set, you close. And then if that doesn't work out, it's like, okay, I definitely understand that, it's not in your budget right now. And even after the deal, I know it's a little bit hard to fit into your budget. Here, let me show you a set. That's the perfect solution for you. Our galley said it's a few less knives for a lot less money. Instead of paying blank for the homemaker set, our galley set is blank. Go through it and close. My third key for you guys is to mirror and match. Mirror and match. What does it mean to mirror and match? It literally means what it says. Mirroring and matching what your customer says, how they say it, and what they're doing in their demo. If you see your customer lean in because they're interested in something, I also lean in. Oh, Ms. Jones, what are you looking at? I see some of you doing it now, and I feel a level of rapport when that happens. By the way, people are much more open to your ideas when they feel like they're on your team. It's why so many reps mirror the mannerisms and speech and cadence of their potential customers. Think about it. Like attracts like. People buy from people they feel similar to. And guys, you can use this human tendency to your advantage and build rapport at a high level with your prospects by tapping into these types of shared tendencies. So in the chat box, what are some things that you can mirror and match on a demo? Even virtually, go ahead and drop it in the chat. What are some things you can mirror and match? Body language, pace, smile, tone, eye contact, enthusiasm. Eye contact is a great one in person. It's a little bit harder virtually, right? Because then I'd have to look at this green dot the whole time to make you guys feel like I'm looking at you. But in reality, I'm looking at all of you right now, right? So it's like, hey, Alex, hey, Maya, hey, Avi, hey, Drew, Vero, hello. And you guys can't even see me that I'm looking at you, but I am. Sense of humor, I'll talk about that in a moment. Volume. These are all great. You guys are on the right track. So I'll start off with just going over shared experiences. When you're able to mirror and match your customer, their beliefs, that's also a great one. When you're able to mirror and match their energy, there's an instant level of rapport. If you find out that you're calling Mrs. Jones and Mrs. Jones is a little bit older than you thought, and she's speaking a little bit more slowly, you do not want to have high energy. You're going to scare Miss Jones. You want to speak slowly and softly, just like Mrs. Jones. Oh, Mrs. Jones, how are you doing today? But let's say you run into someone that's got this really high energy. I don't know about you guys, but I get fired up about those people. I'm like, I can't wait to do a demo for them. And it's a lot of fun because our energy is naturally matching. And by the way, you can naturally match people's energy over time as well. But you think about pace. If your customer takes a little bit longer to respond, you should too. Some of you are like, Jacob, you're talking way too slow. But when you're able to do that with the customer that's doing that with you, guess what? They like you, they trust you, they feel understood. Think about mannerisms. One thing that we used to do in person demos, like whenever I'd see like Mr. Jones like cross his leg, I wouldn't cross my leg at the same time, but I'd do it eventually. Or if I see my customer like pick up a pen, I'll also pick up a pen. Just like really subtle things, like not like right away, don't make it weird, but subtle things like that are helpful. You see Mr. Jones kind of leaning back in his chair, sitting like this. I lean back in my chair a little bit. So Mr. Jones, how's it going? And I'll lean back a little bit. I'll mirror and match. Why? Because then Mr. Jones feels invited into the conversation. Think about vocabulary. You guys ever been in a conversation with someone that like didn't have your same vocabulary? And it's just like, you don't feel rapport. So the great thing about like developing your vocabulary and reading allows you to talk to people at their level. You can be more eloquent when you need to. You can have a strong vernacular when you need to. And then also that leads to beliefs. I heard an example just today of when Lindley was sharing with me how she helped her friend Maddie feel really understood. She brought up a belief that they both had, and immediately they both started laughing. And I was like, that's how you can really mirror and match, where people like you and they trust you. And by the way, it wasn't like, oh, I'm going to make sure I do that. It's like, no, naturally, Lindley wanted to establish that trust. So that's what she did. Some bonus tips for you guys as I start to close out here. One of the best ways that I love building rapport is to make them laugh. Whenever you can make someone laugh, they like you and they trust you. They're like, wow, someone just made me laugh. I like them. That's what like their brain thinks. So guess what? Quick plug here. We're going to have a Champs Club next week on the 90+ different Cutco jokes that you can implement into your demo. Guess what? You make your customer laugh every like minute or so. Well, not maybe that much, depending on like, of course, mirroring and matching them. If they're people that are loving the jokes, keep them up. But if they're people that maybe don't like the jokes as much, maybe try different jokes. But that's a really great way to build rapport as well. So just to recap, you're always building rapport. You're building rapport all the time, every day, on the phone, on the demo, on the close, on the Rex, everything. My first key again was to go 3 layers deep. Be fully authentic. Don't be surface level. My second key was to learn to listen more. Seek first to understand, then to be understood. Use active listening. And my third key for you guys is to learn how to mirror and match. Mirror and match tone, pace, energy, mannerisms, vocabulary, beliefs, laughter. When I hear Sinan laughing, oh my gosh, I want to laugh so hard because his laugh is just long and it's really funny. So like naturally, I'm going to laugh too, and that's like rapport. And then my bonus tips again, guys, when you make people laugh, you're going to sell more Cutco. Trust me, we've got a bunch of jokes to share with you next week at our Champs Club. Haven't chosen the date yet, but you got to just show up to every single one just so you can make sure you get all the jokes. Maybe we'll split them up 20 per day or like 15 per day. Who knows? But excited to see you guys implement these skills in your lives, to network, to build friendships, to build relationships, and to really learn how to become a master of rapport.